I'll be honest. The first time I saw this book's title, I thought it was a shady book. Another get-rich-quick scheme dressed up as self-help. But I gave it a shot and it completely flipped how I think about money. So in this video, I want to share 5 lessons from the book that genuinely shifted how I see freedom and finances. Then I'll walk you through the 5 commandments that MJ says every wealth-building business should follow if you want to escape the slow lane. Lesson 1. The slow lane isn't safe anymore. There was a time I thought the safest thing I could do was get a good job, save a little each month, maybe invest in property or stocks and just wait it out. Yeah? Play it smart, be responsible, build up my future one day. But here's what no one really tells you. Even the so-called safe path is still full of landmines. Layoffs, burnout, inflation, emergencies. Most of the risks usually hit when you're already deep in the game with no exit strategy. For me, it hit during the pandemic. Work slowed down, savings thinned, and I realized I was way more vulnerable than I thought. I was doing everything right, but I was still one unexpected bill away from survival mode. Yeah. MJ calls this the slow lane, the path where you exchange your time for money, invest 10% into index funds, and cross your fingers that by 65, life will finally open up. But in today's world, that path isn't just slow, it's very risky. And when I read that, wow, I felt it in my bones, because I wasn't building leverage, I was just burning energy. The real risk isn't failure. It's staying stuck on a path that was never going to lead you to your version of freedom. And if building your own version of freedom is something you're interested in, then I built a free tool that I'll link in the description below called Answer. It takes you through these very subtle prompts and frameworks to get you to your definition of financial freedom. If that's something that interests you, then you can check it down below. Let's move to lesson 2. Wealth is a process, not an event. So most of us are sold the highlight reel, yeah? The founder who exits for millions, the YouTuber who blows up overnight. But what you don't see is the years of obscurity, yeah? The process behind the event. I remember launching a Notion template once, and it sold maybe like 16 copies. None of it was glamorous, but that was the first time I realized that this isn't about viral wins. It's about showing up, learning out loud, and building brick by very simple brick. Yeah? And MJ reminds us that wealth doesn't just happen. It's the result of consistent action over time, often years before anyone notices. Yeah? The moment you stop chasing the events is the moment you start building something real. Lesson 3, build money trees, not more to-do lists. So we've all had the saying, money doesn't grow on trees. But MG flips this. He says it can if you build a system that grows money without demanding all your time. That's what he calls a money tree. Not a job, not a side hustle that collapses the moment you take a day off, but something like a digital product, a YouTube channel, a piece of software, even a newsletter. The first time I felt this click was when I made a digital product on Creative Market and forgot about it completely. Then a few months later, I got a random email saying I'd gotten my first sale. Not any life-changing money, but it was a big sign of proof that something I created once could keep working without me. The goal isn't passive income, it's purposeful income, the kind that frees you to live, not just work. Lesson 4, shift from consumer to creator. So the world trains us to be consumers, right? Buy this, subscribe to that, add to cart. But the people who build real freedom create things, yeah? I used to spend hours and hours scrolling design inspiration, watching tutorials, reading books, watching podcasts, telling myself I was learning, but nothing changed until I started creating my own templates, sharing my process, and posting about it in public, even when it felt half-baked. MJ says this shift from consumer to producer is the real unlock, yeah? Not because it's sexy, but because it puts you back in the driver's seat. So every time you create instead of consume, you're choosing your future over your feed. Lesson 5, don't just be interested, be committed. I used to say I wanted freedom, but I wasn't backing it with action. I'd write down plans, I'd start things, stop them, then rinse and repeat. Then something changed. I started treating this path like my life actually depended on it, because in a way, it kind of does, you know. And MJ puts it best, where he said that interest works on your business 1 hour a day. Commitment works on your business 7 days a week, whenever time permits. And that line was, it was life-changing, because I realized I was romanticizing the outcome, but avoiding the work, like most of us do. You don't have to go all in tomorrow, but at some point, you have to stop dipping your toe and start swimming, you know. MJ lays out 5 commandments every Fastlane business needs if you want to build real wealth. Commandment 1, the commandment of need. If your product doesn't solve a real problem, it doesn't matter how pretty it is. MJ says this is why most businesses fail, because they're built on wants, not needs, right? And that made me pause, because some of my early ideas, even some ideas right now, they were more about what I wanted to create, not what others were struggling with or needed in their lives, yeah? Then commandment 2, the commandment of entry. If anyone can do it, competition will eat you alive. That's why some of the best businesses are so hard to replicate, not because they are complicated, but because they require skill, consistency, or a very crazy unique angle. It's shifted how I think about easy ideas, yeah? If it feels too easy to start, it probably means it's too easy to copy. Then commandment 3, the commandment of control. If you rely on someone else's platform, algorithm, or pricing, then you're never in control, right? That's why YouTube alone is risky. Instagram alone is risky. TikTok alone is risky. One policy change and your reach disappears, just fizzles out, you know. That's why I started building my email list, why I built Anza, and why I think deeply now about ownership, because true wealth needs true control. Number 4 is the commandment of scale. If you have to do the work every single time to get paid, that's not scalable. That made me ask, what can I create once that helps someone again and again? Number 5 is the commandment of time. Time is your most valuable asset. If your business relies entirely on you showing up every day, then you don't own a business, you own a job. This one still hits hard, because even as I build these systems, I know I'm still early to this game, yeah? But at least now, I know what I'm building towards, right? And I hope that's how you feel too. The Millionaire Fastlane isn't about Lambos or luxury, as I thought it was. It's about leverage. And you'll hear me say this again and again. Leverage, yeah? It's about building something now that frees you later. Something that gives you your time back, so you can live, not just survive. And if you're watching this and you feel behind, I hope this reminded you that the road doesn't have to be flashy to be freeing. One step, one product, one belief shift at a time. That's the real fast lane. If this resonated, then you'll love this next one, where I unpack what I wish I knew before building my first digital product. I'll see you there, yeah? Cheers.